HOA Karen trashed library meeting room, fined $90,000 and banned from public property. The small town of Willow Creek buzzed with whispers, but none louder than those about Karen Whitaker. She was the iron-fisted president of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, a woman whose name alone could make neighbors flinch. Her manicured lawn, her pristine mailbox, her unrelenting gaze. Karen was a force, a self-appointed guardian of order. But order, as the town would soon learn, was a fragile thing. It started at the library, a quaint brick building where the HOA held its monthly meetings. The meeting room, with its faded carpet and wooden tables, was a sanctuary for community debates. That evening, the agenda was simple: a vote on new playground equipment. Karen, as always, arrived early, her heels clicking like a metronome. She wore a floral blouse, her signature, and carried a leather binder stuffed with notes. The room filled with familiar faces: retirees, young parents, and Emily, the new librarian, whose nervous smile betrayed her inexperience. Emily, barely 25, loved the library. It was her refuge, a place where stories lived and community thrived. She'd spent weeks preparing for the meeting, arranging chairs, setting out water pitchers, and polishing the oak table. But Karen's presence unsettled her. The older woman's demands: extra chairs, better lighting, no children allowed, came in a barrage of emails beforehand. Emily complied, but unease gnawed at her. The meeting began civilly enough. Neighbors debated swings versus slides, budgets versus dreams. Karen, however, had other plans. She stood, slamming her binder down, her voice slicing through the chatter. "This playground nonsense is a waste of our dues," she declared. "We need stricter lawn regulations, not toys for reckless kids." Murmurs rippled. A young mother, Clara, stood up, her voice shaking but firm. "Karen, this is about our children, not your perfect grass." The room tensed. Karen's eyes narrowed, her lips curling into a sneer. "You wouldn't understand community standards, Clara. Your yard's an eyesore." The insult landed like a slap. Clara flushed, but before she could respond, Karen turned her wrath on Emily. "And you? This room is a disgrace, dusty, cramped, unacceptable." Emily stammered, her heart racing. "Too cleaned it myself," she said, but Karen waved her off, grabbing a water pitcher and hurling it to the floor. Glass shattered, water pooled, and gasps filled the air. What followed was chaos. Karen, fueled by rage, swept books off tables, tore down posters, and shoved chairs aside. "This town is a mess," she screamed. Neighbors froze, stunned by her unraveling. Emily, tears welling, tried to intervene, but Karen pushed past her, knocking over a display case. The crash echoed, and in that moment, the room's heart broke. Enter Mr. Ellis, the janitor, a quiet man who'd worked at the library for decades. His presence was often overlooked, his stooped figure blending into the background. But now, he stepped forward, broom in hand, his eyes sharp with something unspoken. "Mrs. Whitaker," he said, his voice low but steady, "you've done enough." Karen froze, caught off guard by his tone. The room held its breath. Mr. Ellis wasn't just a janitor. Years ago, he'd been a teacher, a man who'd shaped young minds until a scandal unfairly pinned on him cost him his career. He'd chosen silence, but tonight he spoke. "This library," he said, "is for everyone, not your tantrums." His words carried weight, a quiet authority that pierced Karen's bravado. She scoffed but faltered, her hands trembling. The police arrived soon after, called by a shaken Clara. Karen's outburst had caused thousands in damage-broken furniture, ruined books, a shattered display case. The town was unforgiving. The library board, backed by furious residents, fined her $90,000, a sum that drained her savings. Worse, she was banned from all public property. No more library, no more park, no more HOA meetings. Karen, the queen of control, was dethroned. But the story didn't end there. Emily, devastated by the destruction, found a note slipped under the library door days later. It was from Mr. Ellis, written in careful script. "Don't let her break you," it read. "This place is yours now." Attached was a small donation, enough to replace a few books. Emily wept, not for the loss, but for the reminder of why she stayed. The library wasn't just walls and books. It was people like Mr. Ellis, who'd seen the worst and still chose kindness. Karen, meanwhile, became a ghost. Her house, once a showpiece, grew unkempt. Neighbors whispered she'd moved, unable to face the shame. But some claimed she lingered, watching from her window, a prisoner of her own making. The playground vote passed, and children laughed where Karen's rules once reigned. Yet the victory was bittersweet. The library, though repaired, bore scars, faint cracks in the walls, a lingering heaviness. The twist came months later, when Emily found an old photo in the library archives. It showed a young Karen, smiling, reading to children in that same meeting room. She'd been a volunteer once, before bitterness took root. The discovery shook Emily. Karen wasn't born a villain. She'd been shaped by years of resentment, perhaps by losses no one knew. It didn't excuse her, but it humanized her. Emily kept the photo, a quiet reminder that even the worst among us carry unseen wounds. Willow Creek moved on, but the story lingered, a cautionary tale of pride and consequence. The library stood stronger, its meetings now filled with voices once silenced. Yet the cost was steep, not just in dollars, but in trust, in community. Karen's fall was a mirror, reflecting the fragility of order when ego overrides empathy. What do you think? Was Karen's punishment just? Or did the town's wrath go too far? Share your thoughts on justice, community, and the line between accountability and vengeance.